This is the Pitt News' weekend watchlist picks for the week of February 26th. Our streaming recommendations are a bit self-indulgent today. We're talking movies and television shows about journalism.
1987, When the Day Comes, recounts the story of a student activist who is killed by police officers during an interrogation. Even though the police attempt to cover up the death, aware that it would cause civil unrest, the hero of the film, Prosecutor Che, insists on performing an autopsy. The results of this autopsy leak to reporter Yoon Sang-sam, who publishes the story despite threats from the police and the authoritarian government, sparking the massive protests the police so feared.
Do you ever wonder why so many scandals suddenly get "gate" appended to them? From Deflategate to Gamergate, the suffix is still quite common today, but its origin dates back to the Watergate scandal. All the President's Men is the Oscar-nominated film depicting two journalists' investigation into Richard Nixon's administration's attempts to cover up a break-in at the Watergate Hotel, where the Democratic National Committee was headquartered.
Ben, that's a page one story.
Stick it inside someplace.
Netflix's The Confession Killer tells the story of how the Texas Rangers convicted a man for hundreds of cold case crimes he never committed. Motive? Unclear. Story? Extremely entertaining. Journalists in the 80s covered the story of Henry Lee Lucas, simultaneously informing and confusing the nation. With the amounts of twists and turns in the documentary, it's easy to see why that was.
All these years was Henry did it. There is not one shred of evidence to show that Lucas killed my mother.
Walking off an elevator to a line of people trying to get your attention, the buzz of reporters and editors working together on story edits, and obscure grammar questions. Sounds like a newsroom at work to me, and one that student journalists at Pitt will hopefully get back once the COVID-19 pandemic subsides. The paper does a masterful job of showing how a daily newspaper comes together in the wee hours of the morning and the pitfalls those practicing the craft often fall into. At a time when many are turning away from newspapers, the paper is not a bad place to start to try and restore your faith in the news industry and all of the people working through the night. Our own print deadline at the Pitt News is 1 a.m. to get you information about your community.
Let's stand alone. Let's make up for it.
We're a commuter paper. People want the subway.
What are you, market research all of a sudden? Not everything is about money.
It is when you almost fold every 6 months.
Sharp Objects is the story of Camille Preaker, an alcoholic and traumatized journalist who was forced to report on a string of murders in her hometown of Wind Gap, Missouri. It's a quiet, secular country town, and the murder of two young girls has caused quite a stir, particularly with Camille's socialite mother, Adora Krellin, who owns the slaughterhouse that employs half the town. This story is a character study for Camille, particularly in terms of her familiar relationship with her mother, deceased sister, and teenage half-sister Emma, played masterfully by Eliza Scanlon. The Amy Adams many of us remember, cheery-faced and wide-eyed from Enchanted and the like, is nowhere to be found here.
I didn't come back to cause any problems.
I can tell. You hate this place like me.
Thanks for watching! Check out pittnews.com for more weekly recommendations.